So I started This Iberian Life to help English speakers that want to buy homes in Spain or Portugal. I connect them with English-speaking attorneys, lenders, and real estate agents. Everybody they need to buy a home. And because I'm familiar with both systems, I act as the coach. So I'm in the middle. And so when a client comes across something that doesn't quite make sense, they can always bounce it off of me, and I kind of help keep everything together. Part of helping people through this process is also introducing them to people in the city where they want to settle that can help them, feel normal, get into a groove, and have access to everything they need. And so today I'm going to be talking with Kristen Bohling and Karla Martínez, who have a company that does just that here in Lisbon, Portugal, and I'm excited to learn more about how this works.
Great.
Yeah.
Great. Thank you so much.
So I would love to hear your stories, right? How did you wind up in Lisbon? Kristen, you're from Chicago, right?
From Chicago, yeah. So we moved to Lisbon kind of just to try it. Our kids were really little. We were living in downtown Chicago. We wanted to try something new. And so we thought we could either move to the suburbs or we would move abroad. And we decided, let's try moving abroad. So we landed here in August of 2014. So it's been over 10 years. My kids were really, really little. My son was 3 at the time. My daughter was 10 months old. So we arrived here with babies, and, in my head, I thought, okay, we'll do this for a couple of years and then we'll go back. And it's been 10 and a half years. So, you get spoiled quite quickly with Lisbon. It's just a really nice quality of life. It's great for kids. It's safe, and it's, the weather's beautiful and all of the things that you hear. So, yeah. And I met Karla. Karla's been here even longer than I have. Yeah.
So I came here because of love.
Okay. So you grew up in Mexico?
I'm from Mexico. My husband is Portuguese. So I came here because of him. We were dating back then, and I moved to Lisbon 20 years ago and stayed here.
Yeah, so I help North Americans settle in Spain or Portugal, and I'm sure I could find a Spanish-speaking attorney and agent in Spain as well.
Mm-hmm.
But the idea is to help the English speakers navigate, because it's, as an English speaker in Spain, it can be tricky.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
So I'm dying to know, what was the runner-up suburb in?
Oh,
it was
gosh.
like Lisbon or
well, my
Highland
husband
Park?
at the time, my husband was still working downtown, so like everyone, everyone wants to live right off the train, so you can take the train into the city. So it was all the western suburbs, LaGrange, which I still absolutely love. One of my best friends is in Indian Head Park, which is another western suburb, but everyone is wanting to do the exact same thing. You're not unique at all when you just want to be on the train, on the route to get back into the city. So it's it's just limited options. We didn't really look that hard. Once this kind of started, it was like, that could be really cool. Let's try that. So we didn't put too much effort into looking, but yeah, that was the area.
Had you considered other cities in Portugal?
No, it was really just Lisbon. My husband's friends that he had made while he was working in Madrid, they were back here, and they were super, super helpful. With getting us kind of, land. One of them has children, so that was helpful as well. So we didn't exist at this time, right? So there wasn't anyone to ask, like, where are the schools, where are the playgrounds, where do we go? So having those guys here was quite helpful. Yeah.
So you navigate. So when you decide you're going to move to Lisbon, how did you find the first place you lived? Did you?
So that was also interesting. So when we first arrived, we had a Portuguese friend, a friend of a friend had an apartment that he was willing to, we could kind of use it as a trial. If we liked it, we could rent it. If we didn't like it, we would move. And the apartment it was tricky because my daughter was 10 months old. She couldn't even walk yet. And, there's stairs like this in the apartment. It was, this is not going to work. And so it was August of 2014, which is like the height of the tourist season, and also in August in 2014, all of Portugal is on vacation.
Yeah.
So, we are calling, emailing everybody that we can find online to try to get another apartment, and we ended up leaving the apartment, going to the one hotel room that we could find that was available in Lisbon, which was like a suite at the Hotel Chiado, which was, $600 a night or something. We're trying to find an apartment, and my husband's trying to set up his office, and it was absolute chaos. So the apartment that we landed at, where we are now, was honestly, it was the only person that we corresponded with. It was the only person who called us back. And I mean, we love our neighborhood. We love we're still there 10 years later. So we just got incredibly, incredibly lucky. I think things are much different now. I think that you can actually probably find someone that can help you find an apartment. But at the time, it was a lot. It was a lot.
Yeah.
It was a hard landing.
Yeah, well, we'll talk about like the real estate buying process here in a bit, but it's very different than what Americans are accustomed to. So how about yourself, Karla?
So my boyfriend back then, he already had an apartment. He was renting an apartment in Barrio Alto. Actually, it was it was a brand new building, one of the very few buildings that they had built in that area, because everything else was falling apart. And we lived there for maybe 2 years, and then we decided to buy an apartment somewhere in a different neighborhood. So we ended up in Campo Pequeno, which is a more Portuguese neighborhood, nothing to do with Barrio Alto, of course. It's more residential. You didn't have as many restaurants, as many people on the street, although you had the bullfight ring right next to it, which also changed a lot. They decided to build a mall underneath, so that helped a lot. We had a supermarket really close by, although El Corte Inglés was very close to that place as well. Then I think 10 years afterwards, we decided to buy another property. So yeah.
Okay, so and both of those you lived in, so you sold the one?
Yes. No. We kept the other one, and now we live in one that is closer to Marquez.
Okay.
So yeah.
Yeah. So walk me through, it sounds to me like, aside from a couple chaotic first days, right? It was love at first sight for you in Lisbon?
It was challenging at first, I have to say. It was, but part of it was challenging because I also had a 3-year-old and a baby.
Yeah.
But you're moving to a new country. The language is, as lovely as Portuguese people are, if you don't speak any Portuguese, it's challenging. Just having 2 little kids, having no one to help with anything was a lot. So it took some time. It took time to feel comfortable. Once I made friends, then it was great. And I think we were really lucky to have our kids so small because we made excellent people at the kids' schools that were so lovely, all Portuguese. And just were really kind and super helpful. And they really wanted to, it's something that I've noticed about Portuguese people generally, is they really, really care if you like their country. They really want you to be comfortable. They really want you to like it. And they were just amazing. People that I'm still friends with now, that were just so helpful. But it took a while. It did take a while. But I think that's normal. I think anywhere you go, it's going to be like that.
So who picked up Portuguese faster, you or the 3-year-old?
The 3-year-old. Oh my God, he's still to this day, it is. They do not enjoy when they're like, "Mommy, stop!" When I try to speak Portuguese, they don't like it. There are some Portuguese words that I have just completely given up on. Like I know that I can't say them. I will never be able to say them, and it's okay. No, and right now we've been here for so long, and my daughter's heard Portuguese as much as she's heard English at this point. So they're both in their school. They're in international school, but they're both in the mother language. So they have 2 first language classes, English and Portuguese, which is really, really, really cool. And it's nice. Like I think that as much as like it's super helpful that they're like the majority of people do speak English. Like if you really want to practice and you really want to speak Portuguese, you can. So I think even if your kids were older and they wanted to do it, they 100% could.
So as a native Spanish speaker, was Portuguese easier for you, do you feel, than...
No.
No?
No. It was quite hard actually. Back then when I arrived to Lisbon, to Portugal, I used to speak French and Italian as well.
Okay.
And once I started speaking Portuguese, those 2 languages went to the back of the line.
Okay.
And Portuguese and Spanish are very similar, but at the same time they're very different. So it was tough to learn the grammar. The sounds we don't have in Spanish, a lot of sounds that Portuguese people have, the Portuguese language have, sorry. And so it's very tricky. It's a tricky language because it's very similar, but at the same time you have a lot of differences, and especially those, they call it enemy friends. So in Spanish it means something, but in Portuguese it means something completely different. Completely different. So it was tough. It was not easy.
So if you had to, just switching it up a little bit, if somebody's watching this and they're debating, if Lisbon would be the right city for them, Portugal the right country, you have like 20 seconds to create a soundbite of like why they need to make a move to Lisbon. What would that sound like?
It's the perfect place to have a family, to raise a family. There's no other city that I could think about that is more fitted to have a family.
Yeah.
And what makes it so perfect?
Just the fact that you have so many parks. It feels so airy. Like although it's a city, you don't feel like you are like entrapped in big buildings.
It's safe.
It's very safe. It's still very safe. So kids can walk on the street by themselves without. Of course you have to be cautious, but there's so much freedom that you can give your kids in this city that I know a lot of cities. Right now it's impossible.
There's a really nice quality of life for your children here that they can be so independent. That the freedoms that they have here that they wouldn't have in other places it's one of the biggest reasons why we're still here.
Yeah, if my kids were to answer that question, we moved to Sevilla when they were 11 and 13, that would be probably the same thing as the freedom that they had, right off the bat. It was scary for us.
Sure, of course.
Because you're in this plaza and your kids are running around and you're like, if I lose them, I don't even know how to ask anybody, can you help me find pequeña, niño, pequeño.
That's true. That's true.
Yeah, I wouldn't even been able to say that.
Yeah, it is really nice. It is really, really nice for the kids.
Kids. What other age, demographic, like lifestyle, is Lisbon great for?
There's a lot of retirees. The weather, you have weather like Florida, like a typical retirement place, but you're in an international city that is, as far as daily expenses, it's much lower than in the States or in more typical retirement places. The weather is just amazing. And the language, even though it is, it's a foreign country, like the Portuguese are so good with languages. It is, you'll ask someone, desculpa, fala English, and they're a little bit, how can I help you? And then it's immediate, this perfect English, and you're just like, this is incredible. And so I think also for families, it's great. Retirees, it's amazing. And we have clients that have come here that with young kids that are looking for, they want them in a Portuguese school, and the Portuguese, their school system is amazing. Like it's solid, it's great. And there's also a lot of international schools, so there's a lot of options.
What would be the reason not to do it? Like if you had to sum up, like what is the most potently painful part about living in Lisbon?
You have to have a certain degree of patience, because things do get done. They do. Probably not in the timely way that you're used to it, especially if you're coming from the States. Things just take a little bit longer. My husband has coined the term probably 10 years ago, the sunshine tax.
Yeah.
It's a tax. It's February. It is beautiful outside. Like you have to just like, this is the price that you pay to be in this environment. So I think if you are in a hurry, if you need things done yesterday, probably not the best place. But if you can just take a step back and just know that things will happen, then it's okay. Yeah.
We bought a home in Spain, just as a comparison, in May, and it was recorded, I think, in the beginning of August.
Mm-hmm.
Something that our clients back in the States, the whole company would be freaking out if you went a day, without the property being recorded, and it was like, we'll get it. No, it has to go to Barcelona.
Yeah, Southern Europe. It's it is. It's not just. I think it's been Spain, Portugal, both like countries for vacation, and now you have people that are moving here trying to actually do things, and it's just a different. The culture is more leisurely.
I find that great companies are founded to solve a problem. So what problem are you guys solving with Sorted?
Well, basically we were trying to solve Kristen's problem when she first arrived, and my problems as well. Although I had a different experience because I had a local with me, but there were still certain things that as an international person I didn't know about the country or the city. In Kristen's case, she came with babies and didn't know the language, and we were looking for trying to solve these issues that all of our clients and friends have manifest. Basically.
Yeah. So I think by virtue of being here for a while, you make these really great connections and really have really good contacts, and so Karla and I were sort of solving people's problems for free for a long time, and then we realized that we were actually investing a good bit of time and energy into this. So we thought that we should formalize it, and really we like to think of like the people that we work with, like the great accountants, the great bankers, the great the admissions officers at the schools, like. It's helpful for everyone because we want our clients to be happy. The client needs a good banker, needs a good accountant, whatever, and then the banker gets these really great clients, and so it's just making these connections for people, and I think that because that can be really quite hard here. One problem I think that a lot of expats and Portuguese alike will tell you is that you can't really Google things here. It's not the easiest to find information online, or what you find online might not be like the best service. And you really need to know a lot of it is word of mouth. And so if you can be that person that makes those connections, it's really quite helpful.
So if we went through like the services that somebody needs when they first get to a city, I'm gonna kind of just free flow ask you some stuff, and then tell me, is this something somebody should set up before they get here, or can they do it once they arrive? So how about a bank account?
You need to do it before you arrive.
It takes time.
No, not necessarily. There's some documentation. Like I think it's more the required documentation that you need. Like that takes time. The bank account itself, like you can get it done in a couple weeks, a week or two. But you have to have all this documentation first.
A couple weeks is still a long time. Considering that you can walk into a PNC bank and leave with a starter checkbook.
Right.
That you
Because
probably
you
don't
have
need anymore.
you have different requirements here. I mean, just
Yeah.
what was
It's like know your client. Some of money laundering. That's why they do it, and it's because you're a foreigner trying to open an account in a foreign country. Like they do have requirements, and it is definitely more involved than if you're just if you're an American and you go to try to open a U.S. bank account. It's easy. So there is steps that need to be taken, but it's not. It is a bit of paperwork, but it's not. But you should definitely, because you can't rent an apartment, you can't really get utilities set up, you can't do anything here without a bank account.
Yep. And then how about mobile phone?
Phones are pretty easy. In fact, like I think we have plenty of people now who just use WhatsApp, and so you can kind of get the Wi-Fi, but that's.
But you would still need it. For utilities.
Yeah, but it's like if you could arrive with your wherever your U.S. phone or whatever, and then you can get that. So that's.
How about utilities?
That you would need to do before. Yeah.
So the first thing you would have to do, actually, if I may say, it would be the fiscal number.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
That's like one of the first steps that you need to do when moving into Portugal. Before, actually.
Yeah, because you can't do anything without it. You can't rent an apartment. You can't open a bank account. You have to have this.
Yeah, that's it.
They love their numbers. Yeah, so you have to have your number. Yeah.
Yeah. I in Spain we have an NIE, the NIE, and being an American, like if somebody, I'm checking out of a store and somebody asks me my social security number, we're trained to not give them the social security number. But early on, I was buying tickets to a Sevilla game. And I had to put my NIE number in, and I thought, well, I don't feel comfortable doing this. So I took the same format, and I just made up a fake one, and it said, that's not a real number. And so I had to go back in, and I was like, wow, they know my number, but so now I gave them my real number, and I got the tickets, and
it's a really different system than what we have. I mean, once you do use the number for everything though. Like I have one, my kid, everyone has one. Your kids have them, and if you don't have, like when we check in to go to the doctor, you check in with that number. So you really need it for everything. Yeah. And it's not hard to get. Like it takes a couple weeks. Yeah, it's not. There are services that do it online. You have to be careful because they're not always legit. So again, it's like finding someone that can do it at a reasonable price too.
I imagine you probably work with frustrated people sometimes, right? They come to you with a problem that they need to solve.
We know better. We do have frustrated people. And it's usually bureaucracy. It's visas, residency cards, those kind of things. And it is challenging and it is super frustrating. We know where our strengths are, and we are not lawyers. Like this is not what we do. So we have fabulous immigration lawyers, and so they get the frustration. Because we can't really. We can advise, tell about our own experience, but. It is definitely the hardest part, for sure. It's time consuming, it's confusing, it's quite frustrating, but you really have to have a good lawyer. Like it's imperative. And we do have really great lawyers, and they'll call you back, they respond, because that can also be a problem. But if everything does get done. It just takes a little extra time. Yeah.
And you also need to sort of lead them, right? So if they're that frustrated, you need to sort of explain the process. Yeah. You need to be able to calm them down and be like, "This is normal." We're not psychologists, but you sort of at the end of the day need to
be a bit of a therapist as well.
Like be able to calm them down and explain. Especially sit down and take the time to explain how the process is, and it will get solved eventually.
Yeah. So I'd say it's not unlike what I do in referring people to real estate professionals. It's I'm then available to be that sounding board because some things don't make sense. When I first realized that when a real estate agent first told me that home inspectors do not exist in Sevilla, I thought, this can't be true. Like, how does somebody buy it, right? Because we're in the United States. If you buy 100-year-old house, you would that's ancient, right?
You
You
get
might
it
be
inspected,
buying a
yeah.
300-400-year-old house, and the
Mhm.
idea that you're not going to get it inspected just feels very bonkers to me.
Mhm.
And I remember one time we were looking at a house in Sevilla, and I had a friend who was an architect, and I said, "Hey, could you help me with this?" She said, "Yeah, let me see the house." And I said, "Okay, cool." And she said, "No, just show me the pictures."
Mhm.
And I showed her the pictures, and she said, "Oh, this is a good house."
Mhm.
And I said, "Like, how do you know that? You're looking at pictures."
Yeah.
And so it's a very, at the end of the day, before I bought my house, I wasn't able to get a home inspector because they didn't exist,
Mhm.
but I was able to find an architect that would essentially
Yeah.
give me a de facto home inspection.
Yeah.
And then together, we were able to, using my U.S. real estate knowledge, I eventually figured out what type of piping I had. And I asked the architect, and it was like nobody had ever asked them before, And then I thought, well, because in the U.S. we have good pipes and we have bad pipes.
Right, right,
And he says, well, do you see any leaks? I said, stop.
That's not the
it's
point,
just
yeah.
not the way that we're
Yeah.
at. And everything is just muy tranquilo here.
Yeah.
Our experience was the same actually. My husband also brought like friends that were like architects or engineers to see the place and just make sure that there was not anything that we could miss just by the eye, basically.
My father-in-law is he used to do home inspections in the States, and so he this is so bizarre to him but it is quite shocking for people that is just it's really just not a thing.
It's not a thing.
It's not a thing.
But that doesn't mean that you can't get answers to your questions, because at the end of the day you need to you need to make an educated decision.
For sure.
I will say that expenses, I'm interested to know if this is the same case in Lisbon, your experiences, but fixing things is a lot less expensive here in at least in Spain. And is that the case in Lisbon?
Then in the States,
Yeah.
yes. I mean, I think housing prices, whether you're renting or you're buying, they used to not be. They are getting much more on level with with Paris, with London, with Chicago. Like they're probably more what you're used to, but everything else is going to be quite a bit less.
Yeah. Your worst case scenario, even just getting your cars. I mean, the streets are so narrow, your cars get swiped, but the doors are somehow a lot less expensive here. So if you had to, this is probably a dangerous question, but if you were going to compare Lisbon to a city in North America, what city would it be?
Oh gosh. I mean, look wise, it's a lot like San Francisco.
That's my thought.
But our weather is better. We don't have the rain, but I mean with the hills and the trams and all of this, it's but I don't know what else I would. As far as the vibe, I mean it is so, especially these days, it's so international. Much less so 10 years ago, 20 years ago when Karla was like it's wasn't so much like that, but it is it's very European in that it is just so vibrant. It's ancient, but so international. I don't know what I would compare it to though in the States, other than like how it looks. It looks like San Fran, but yeah. I don't know. I mean, it's not New York because it's not that intense. There's no skyscrapers, and it's not Boston. It's not Chicago. It's pretty unique, I guess.
Yeah, it's very neat. I stayed last time in a residential neighborhood. It was still downtown, but sort of on the outskirts.
Yeah.
And to me, it felt so much like San Francisco. Just the little restaurants I'd have dinner at that they were neighborhood feel, so you could tell most of the people lived in the neighborhood. I was the visitor.
Yeah. We do have the more like office, like Saldana, where the offices, but then you have the streets that are very, very residential. You have Libertad, which feels like Michigan Avenue in Chicago. Like, so it's kind of a mix, I guess.
Yeah, and it's its own stuff. It's Lisbon.
It is. Yes, it is.
All right, so thank you so much for the conversation today.
Thank you.
Yeah, if you had to, so how do people get a hold of you? for Sorted?
We have our Sorted Portugal is .com is our website. All the contact info, everything is there. We're also Instagram Sorted Portugal, and then feel free to reach out.
Sorted.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Sorted Portugal. This Iberian Life.com and also This Iberian .life on Instagram. So
Cool.
all right.
Thank you so
Thank you
much.
so much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank